"Are you ready?" The lawyer opened the will and jaws dropped. Uncle Qiang gave all his assets to everyone present. Even the devoted old butler got a slice of the pie, but the favorite nephew, Fasha, didn't get a dime. Fasha stormed off like a mad rocket, while Aunt Jin was left in disbelief, rushing to interrogate the lawyer, who just flashed her a thumbs. Uncle Qiang may have frequently fiddled with his will, but one thing never changed: no money for Fasha. While everyone debated selling the house, Fasha was left clueless about how the will had flipped upside down. Suddenly, the quirky little sister blurted out that Uncle Qiang might have been murdered. It left everyone nearly fainting. Everyone thought it nonsense, as she was always quirky. Shockingly, next day she became an axe victim. Since she was Fasha's aunt, let's just call her auntie to avoid confusion. The family lawyer decided to ring up the great detective Poirot, convinced there was a shocking secret lurking behind. After the funeral, Poirot returned to his office to find chaos. Only Uncle Qiang's property deed was missing. With the mysterious change in the aunt who was silenced moments after talking, everything seemed to scream a melodramatic thriller. Yet Poirot pulled himself together, deciding to get started with the evidence. He first headed to the police station to check out Auntie's body, but Auntie was in bad shape. The killer had given her 6 or 7 axe blows, all aimed right at her face. The local sheriff deemed it burglary, thinking the killer killed her to avoid being caught. However, Agatha's police tend to be a bit suspect, so just take it with a grain of salt. Poirot then went to Auntie's house for further investigation. After her divorce, Auntie survived by selling cosmetics and hired a butler named Jill, who was a total cosmetics fanatic. Miss Jill's father was a painter, so she had been steeped in artsy vibes since childhood. They frequently discussed the curious tales of cosmetics together. Jill even had a cake shop where she made delicious treats, but after it closed, she remained a sweet-toothed foodie. Poirot couldn't stop raving about her desserts, but sadly, those sweet days were short-lived. She ended up being Auntie's butler. Miss Jill mentioned that Uncle Qiang had come over about 3 weeks ago and claimed someone wanted to poison Auntie. That's a major clue. If that's true, then Uncle Qiang could have been murdered as well, especially since Auntie might have known something. The killer changed the will to cover their tracks, leaving everyone as a suspect. At first, they needed to confirm everyone's whereabouts after the funeral. Poirot decided to check in with Fasha's elder daughter. The actress' sister had a husband in the biz too, but they only played those tiny roles, with fame being questionable. After the funeral, they went to see friends and dined together at night. Doesn't sound like time for a crime. By the time they got home, it was already midnight. Poirot then checked in with Aunt Jin, who said she'd been busy sorting through the inheritance seat and the lawyer could back her, but she claimed she wasn't familiar with Auntie since they hadn't seen each other for years, although she recalled that mysterious look on her face. Since the funeral, everything felt off. But the most interesting character is Fasha, who went off to gamble right after the funeral, seemingly unfazed despite getting nothing. Subtitles. And to top it all off, he actually accurately named the winning horse. Isn't that just absolutely unbelievable? This reminds me of my investment in African Ventures. Oh wait, you're going to Africa too, right? Yep. I'm heading there soon. Little sister's daughter is keen on charity and preparing to support education in Africa. But charity needs funds, and her attempts at fundraising fell flat. According to Auntie's will, all her properties would go to Little Road after her death, so she's got her share of suspicion. Poirot next visited Uncle Qiang's elder brother's home. The wife disliked Auntie too. Subtitles. Every time she encountered Auntie, it was as if she were meeting a hunchbacked witch, with her head constantly bowed down and her head wobbling from side to side as she spoke. When they stepped inside, they met Uncle Qiang's elder brother, who indeed looked a bit sickly. As for their whereabouts after the funeral, they claimed the car broke down on the way home, forcing them to stay at a hotel for a night before returning. After hearing that, Poirot exploded in anger, accusing them of lying everywhere, as this whole family clearly had time to kill Aunt. So how did Poirot discover all this? Let's quickly see what happens next. They drove back to Uncle Qiang's mansion. Since Uncle Qiang's family was no help, let's focus on the staff. Poirot first found Uncle Qiang's doctor, asking if he might have been poisoned, but the doctor couldn't confirm anything. He said he hadn't thought about that before, and now that Uncle Qiang had been cremated, he couldn't check again. Thinking about the cremation, Poirot found it peculiar since it's not common for Brits to choose that route after death. Next, Poirot found Uncle Qiang's butler, who said Uncle Qiang was ill but remained alert. Plus, Farsha and his mother had been tending to him, but there was one unusual thing. He and Farsha had the big fight the day before he died, leaving the butler dumbfounded with no clue why. The butler mentioned that Uncle Qiang had shown him the will, but he couldn't read it because of his poor eyesight. The lawyer interrupted, saying there were 2 wills, not one. The butler insisted there was only one. In the end, it turned out that the will the lawyer had was indeed a forgery, clearly pulled off by someone from Uncle Qiang's own family.